And welcome to the Breakin Broncos podcast. As always, I am your host, Dan Wetstein. We got our guy, Dylan Miles. I'm going to get this point thing down one of these times, I swear. But got our boy Dylan Miles here with us again this week. I know y'all missed him. I got a bunch of questions while we were doing the draft coverage, but unfortunately, the man had to go get his teeth drilled and couldn't quite make it in due to some complications with medication. But now he is back. He is ready to go. We are ready to talk Broncos. We are talking pretty much draft all day today because, well, that's the biggest thing going on right now. We're going to give draft grades. We're going to talk about who was our favorite pick, all those great things. So let's go ahead and jump into it up here. To begin with, we have the Broncos making only 2 trades after everybody was expecting them to just be trading up and down the draft boards and stuck to their guns on most cases, took 9 players. So who was your selection? Who was your favorite selection in the draft, Dylan?
I need to pull up names real quick because when I was watching them, I was quite medicated. So I need to find names. I think my favorite one was this the linebacker out from Oklahoma in the second round.
Nick Benito.
Yep, Nick Benito.
Or Baby Feet Benito. That's a horrible nickname. We got to come up with a better one for him. But yes,
that's one of my favorites. But if I had to choose, my number one favorite was taking Greg Dulcich from UCLA. Get the hair. He got the hair.
Yes, he's definitely got the hair. I had a problem with that because I wanted the guy either out of Maryland or Virginia Tech. Either one of those tight ends, which are just absolute physical freaks, running in the 4.4, 4.5s at 6'5", 250 and above. Dulcich, I mean, I think he was like number 2 in the FBS last year in average yards per catch for a tight end.
I think he was a Pac-12 nominee for Player of the Year, I believe.
Yes, I do believe he was.
I think he was close to an All-American, but he didn't get it, I believe.
Yeah, he was honorable mention All-American, and he averaged over 17 yards per catch, which is an insane average for a tight end. I just believe the level of competition he was facing. The defenses in the Pac-12 aren't the greatest, as any Buffalo fan will tell you. So that gives me kind of a worry that 17 yards per catch might be a little inflated. Like I said, I like the physical traits of the other guys, but as I said live while I consternated this pick was I got to trust the Paton process.
Now go ahead. Here's why I like the pick more. Like, sure, the catching's great, right? I mean, it's an insane average, but your Pac-12, obviously, like you said, I think, we're not going to see him average 17 yards per catch this season, but he's going to be catching great. But the reason I really liked it was just because his blocking. Man, was a fantastic blocker. I watched when you were watching his highlights. I looked him up afterwards, watched more. I knew who the guy was, obviously being in the Pac-12, but looking him up, really looked and I go, he's a great blocking tight end too. And he didn't get talked about. They didn't talk much about it, obviously, because of his insane receiving stats. But I think that's why Paton looked more into him because he can do both. He can catch and he can really block. But that's where we're going to see him utilized, I think, this season is more on the blocking side of the tight end and let Alberto take more of those receiving snaps.
Yeah, definitely Dulcich is one of the better blockers in the draft. That was one of the things that I gave him kudos for live. It's just we already have blocking tight ends. That was my problem. Albert O is a willing and able blocker and receiver. And they already have 2 other guys that are essentially strictly blockers. And Tomlinson and who was that guy from last year? I talked about him a bunch. Anyways, but those 2 guys are mainly blockers. So you go out and you get the best blocker again. There's going to be a lot of 2 tight end sets here. So yeah, you need 2 guys that can block. But again, we already have blockers. We needed a guy that would be the matchup nightmare that Albert O is, but we could also have him when Albert O is not on the field.
And that's what I like too. Albert O's not going to be able to play every snap. I mean, look at him, right? Sure, especially with the ACL injury, his rookie season, had a fantastic year last year. I think he had a better year than Noah Fant, I believe, stat-wise. And, I mean, I just like watching this guy play. And also, like you said, they're going to run double tight end schemes with blocks on the runs. But also, they're going to run double tight end schemes on passes. especially with this Hackett offense. They ran it quite a bit in Green Bay, and we're going to see it here too. You got 2 threats of receivers for tight ends, and you're going to be able to run these schemes all game.
Yeah, all of those things, great points, and I completely agree with them. So, like I said, I will trust the Paton process. I will trust after the fact that we just watched 10 draft picks from last year. All 10 of them got in at least one game, and all but 2 of them started a game. So people want to concentrate about the fact that, oh, we don't know what any of these players' names were. You didn't know who Jonathan Cooper was. You didn't know who Baron Browning was last year. And now all anybody can talk about is how brilliant that Paton was for getting Browning in the 5th and Jonathan Cooper in the 6th. So I think everybody in Broncos country needs to settle down a little bit until we see these guys on the field. Because just like last year after the draft, everybody was whining and crying about, we don't know who any of these players are, and we don't know if they're going to be any good outside of Pat Surtain, obviously.
I mean, look at every Bronco draft even before Paton. I mean, especially back in those late 80s, early 90s to even late 90s. You didn't even know who half these guys were. Nobody really knew who Shannon Sharp was. Nobody knew who Terrell Davis was. The only one they really knew of was John Elway because he was the number 1 overall pick.
That's a great era for you to bring up. Yes.
I want to also bring up is that most of these guys, I mean, especially look at Hall of Fame. Most of those Hall of Famers weren't number 1 overall picks. They were either undrafted or late round picks.
Exactly. If you look at the track history of Shanahan and the 1st and 2nd round, it's as bad as Bill Belichick's. I don't know if maybe it's something about great coaches just can't get out of their own way in the 1st and 2nd round. They got to try and outthink everybody. But those 2 guys' 1st and 2nd round picks are probably one of the worst track records in all of football.
And one of the best coaches.
Yeah. That's exactly. They have 2 of the most successful track records as a coach. So it doesn't seem like hitting on 1st and 2nd round picks are the mark of a great franchise always. Sometimes it can be, but here in Denver, it seems to be when you get a coach or a GM that doesn't really always hit on the 1st or 2nd round, it tends to be a good thing.
But and then look at it though. I was just looking at, I mean, these 1st and 2nd round picks, right? Sure, they're a hit or a miss. Most of the time they're misses, but there's those select few. Like already, Pat Surtain. I know it's 1 season in, but look at him already, right? Yes. And there was a John Elway in that era. Those first picks.
That's the beauty of the Paton era, is that he seems to be able to hit no matter where he is in the draft.
And then look at these players that he's already got: Baron Browning, Jonathan Cooper, Pat Surtain. I mean, look, and who was
and the guys
Javonte Williams, the guys he traded for,
Stephen.
And then this offseason, look at this offseason, Russell Wilson.
Randy.
Oh, by the way, they got Melvin Gordon back for less than what we thought he was going to get.
1 year, $5 million maximum with.
I thought it was 6 to 7.
Oh, it's $5 million with incentives. I didn't see anything about 6 to 7. I'll have to double check that. I might be wrong, but last time.
Well, that's what I thought they were going to give him was a 6 to 7 million 1 year.
Okay, I got
him for cheaper.
We're on the same page. Yeah, definitely got him for at least $1 million or $2 million less than what we assumed he would get, and that's not a guarantee he makes the $5 million. That's with incentives. He's on essentially a 1 year veteran minimum contract, and then if he hits certain incentives, which him being the 1B in this rotation, because there's no way that he supersedes Javonte Williams again, not with this coaching staff.
And Mike Boone
going to be the supplement. Yeah, he is going to be the supplement. So I highly doubt he hits all the incentives unless, God forbid, Javonte gets hurt. That's the only way he's hitting all of the incentives.
I mean, look at it.
One of the incentives is 1,000 yards. He hasn't hit 1,000 yards since he became a Bronco.
I mean,
so
didn't he hit 1,000 that 1 year? No, I thought it was the year Philip Lindsay, the last year with Philip Lindsay when he was hurt like most of the season. I think he barely passed it.
I know he's had 1,000 all-purpose yards, but I don't think he's had 1,000 yards rushing. I'll double check. But getting back to who I think is the best pick is your first initial reaction was Nick Bonito. And a lot of people wanted to talk about pass rusher was just not needed and it was a luxury pick. You got 2 starters in Randy Gregory and Bradley Chubb who have yet to play a full season. Your top 2 pass rushers have yet to have a full season of work. Like Paton said, you can never have enough, not on any team, let alone a team that has two injury risks.
You are right. He was 14 yards short in 2020.
Yeah, there you go. Like just short, but yeah. So he's never been 1,000. He's only had a 1,000-yard rushing season in his career, and that was his contract year, or two. Yeah, that's right. Sorry.
He had 2 with the Chargers.
One was it was either his rookie season or the second season, and then the second one was his contract year that the Broncos went and spent $8.5 million on him for average production. What he has done, like, I don't get why people act like Melvin Gordon is so special. He is a good running back. He is not special.
I mean, he's in the league for a reason, but I don't think he's the answer for all of it.
He's a legit player in the NFL, but he is not a superstar. Like, the whole takes from people that want to be like, oh, the Melvin Gordon signing was genius because Melvin Gordon would be a starter on almost any other team. Okay, so why is he still available 3 days before the draft? And if he had so many offers out there, why did he take a 1-year prove-it deal with the previous team that just let him walk and play in free agency for 3 months?
And it's going to be replaced by Javonte Williams.
Right, and he's.
Look at it. He's not even going to be. Yeah, he's not even going to be the starter. Once Melvin went down with that injury, and Javonte had that fantastic game where he carried the team. The reason they were in it was Javonte against the Chiefs. Yeah, he had 120 something that game.
Yeah, it was like 20, 22 carries.
He had an insane game.
Back that the more carries and touches he gets, the better he gets. The more he wears down a defense.
He reminds me of a Christian McCaffrey-esque running back. The more Christian McCaffrey, whether it's rushing or receiving, if you give him the ball, he's going to find a way through.
Yeah,
that's what I liked about McCaffrey.
Yeah, he's just not as fast as McCaffrey.
No,
McCaffrey runs
he's more gonna. I'm gonna run downhill.
Javonte runs a 4.5. Yeah, exactly. So it's not like Javonte's slow.
Yeah,
he still ran a 4.5, but Christian McCaffrey just has a special type of speed. The man ran a 4.3.
That's just who he reminds me of. I'm just like, he can just do. He can do it all.
The way he plays, the way he plays, block, receive, run, patience. Like the only knock on Javonte Williams' game is his vision. But that's a lot like wide receivers when they first come in and tight ends when they first come in and learning how to sit down in zones, or quarterbacks learning what is an open window in the NFL. It's the same concept. He was very good. He had moments where you're like, man, I wish he would have seen that hole. He probably could have busted it for 50 as opposed to the 15. But still, you have the fact that he ran over 5 people to get that.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's carrying people. People are in his face. I don't know how he's going to see a hole when he's got 5 guys on his back and 1 in his face.
Right. That's another thing is people tend to forget that 3/5 of that offensive line were hurt all year. The starters from week 1, 3/5 of them went down before the middle of the season. So he had guys like Quinn Miners, who came from Whiteside, Division III football, blocking for him. He had
doing a fantastic job, but I mean, but still
they had their wards. Gosh. They had, there was times that they missed blocks and stuff like that he had to try and sift through the trash. And to think that he was able to run behind that type of an offensive line with that much inexperience and a bunch of guys that had really never played together outside of practice, and still was as productive as he was late in the season, like we said, with his 120-yard game.
And then was the starter from then on.
Against Kansas City, like
both those games against Kansas City, I know there were passing touchdowns in that second game where they almost beat them.
Right.
My God, he was the reason they were in the game. He was carrying it down the field, and then those few touchdown passes, but still he had more yards than I think all those receivers combined in those Chiefs games.
Exactly.
Rushing.
Exactly. So, and the one thing that really worried me about this draft, though, getting back to what we were talking about, was the fact that the Broncos brought in 9 picks, 14 UDFAs, and only one of them was an offensive tackle, and he's a left tackle, not a right tackle. The consensus number 1 hole on this team was right tackle, and Paton never brought in any. So, with that being said,
I was going to say real quick. I mean, I'm worried about that too, but I mean, I would be okay with not bringing in much in the draft because, I mean, look at the free agency. You got a few guards, right? Most of those guards were tackles and could transition over. So there are still plenty of options within the team already to put at right tackle. None of them, I think, would be the long-term answer. But until then, they'll do just fine until maybe, I would say, next year draft free agency or even the rest of free agency going on. There's not many options, but there's still a good few picks out there you could get in free agency.
I mean, there is also another possibility. We do have June 1st cuts coming up. Once those happen, a lot of times there's some surprise cuts, and most of the surprise cuts tend to be offensive linemen. It's guys that teams just feel they have a bloated salary, and they just got to get rid of them because they're in salary cap purgatory. So there's always that, opportunity. But to me, I just feel like there was chances. Like, yes, I see when Nick Bonito is there at 64, I think that kid can be a special pass rusher. You grab him. But when they took Dulcich, there was almost every top right tackle left on the board. Only one right tackle had been taken at that point. So my thing is, why don't you take one of those right tackles? Maybe they didn't like him. I mean, we don't know how the Broncos had them.
Who knows what George Payton's thinking? I can't read that guy's mind to save my life. Like anybody could Elway's. Like, he's going to take this guy. Took it. And you're like, yeah, I knew that was coming. This guy he's going to take this. Goes completely opposite. And I go, wow, that was a really good idea. That's actually smart.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
Making me second think.
Peyton is almost impossible to predict. Like, for instance, I got one pick right out of all of his picks, and that was Nick Bonito at 64. I just felt like with the RAS score, with his unbelievable first step, get off, it reminded me of Elvis Dumervil and Von Miller. Like, his get off is insane. He's one of those pass rushers that you always think is offside because he's just that fast.
And where I think I'm going to like him just because, he's like, but we already I saw some people go, we already have Bradley Chubb and Randy Gregory. Two very injury prone guys. And one suspension prone guy. Yeah.
Right.
And I'm going, wow, like, that's a really good pick because, maybe Bradley's hurt. You line him and Randy off opposite sides. Maybe Randy's hurt or, God forbid, suspended, which I hope not. You can line him on the other side. But it's also just options and keeping it fresh on the defense. And making offenses second guess what you're going to do and go, oh, these guys are in. I don't know what I'm going to do here if this happens.
Right. And it also gives them options with Bradley Chubb. Like, a lot of people don't think about the fact that, yes, they picked up his fifth-year option, but if Nick Bonito goes out there and just balls out, but Bradley Chubb does too, well, you already got Randy Gregory under contract for a team-friendly deal for a pass rusher. Well, instead of paying Bradley Chubb, you could take him, flip him for a first-round pick or multiple first-round picks to recoup what you gave away in the Russell Wilson trade for next year's draft, where they don't have a first or second rounder. So you take him, you flip him, get that extra draft capital, and you already got another pass rusher to replace him. Plus, you still got Randy Gregory for another 4 years on his contract.
Now, let's say he's balling out here. Let's say he's like balling out way better than everybody. Let's say rookie year Bradley Chubb is back.
Right.
Like, best of the best. You can still sign. You don't need to give him a lot of money. Bradley Chubb would take a deal that would keep him in Denver, but not have to have the big payday. I mean, I would even think he would take anything under 40 to stay for 3-4 years.
That's a possibility, but I think if he balls out, he has more value to recoup picks. Because like I said, you already have, before Nick Bonito got here, you had 5 pass rushers that all had multiple sacks last year. So you already have a stable of pass rushers. Why not take from a strength to add more ammo in the next year's draft? That's just my thought process. But there's also I don't know if Bradley Chubb, especially with his injury history, he's probably going to want a big multi-year deal because he knows, he is absolutely cognizant of just how easy it is to get hurt in this league. So if he goes out and balls out this year, he's going to want a new contract.
But also, and and especially with Paton, I mean, look at the sweet talker. You never know. Like,
he is
with these predictions, but with Paton, you never know what money he'd give him. But most likely, we're going to see him turning him around for a lot of picks or even a player or two.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying is like the Paton process. You're going to get one of two things. You're going to get the player on a team-friendly deal, or he's going to flip them for more picks than you think they're worth. I mean, just look at what he did with Von Miller. Like he flipped them for picks, and they had a chance to sign him, but Buffalo just. I mean, I love Von Miller.
I don't think he's worth that much.
Von Miller.
Yeah,
I am not giving Von Miller $100 million at 34 years old.
I had a buddy ask me.
That's not happening.
He's like, "Is that a good deal?" I go, "Hell no."
No,
I'd give him a 3 to 4 year at best, 40 to 50 million.
Yeah, I mean, technically, the Buffalo Bills can get out of that contract in, I believe it's 3 years with a very minimal cap hit, and then after 4 years, they can get rid of him with no guaranteed money.
Mm-hmm.
So they have ways to get out of it beforehand. But with Von Miller's injury history that's been piling up as of late, I am not sinking that many years and that much money into an aging pass rusher. Like, I understand that Buffalo's in win now, but that's one of those moves that could hinder you for years going forward and actually shorten your contention window.
And that's the best. Those are the best teams for him to go to, are the win now teams.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, he's at that point in his career.
Say Buffalo signed him to a 1 year deal. Say they go on and win it, or they get close to winning it. They're like, well, what didn't happen? Thanks, Vaughn. Move on. He goes and finds another team, win now team. Let's say he heads down to the Bucks for 1 more year with Brady.
Right.
Just bounces around. But that's what I would have. That was what I thought was going to happen. He was just going to bounce around to some teams, win now, 1 year options. I just still can't believe they were able to. Not they were able, that they signed him that they gave him that. Right. Even the $100 million is not guaranteed, but you're still taking a big hit with the rest.
Yeah, that was a desperation move by the Buffalo Bills, and it really made no sense when you look at the depth of pass rushers. Because again, we're talking about Nick Bonito, who has a get off like Von Miller, that was taken at number 64 overall. After there was 5 pass rushers taken in the first round and another 3 pass rushers taken in the second round.
I'm so happy for the Jags. I'll say it, because they got Devin Lloyd.
Yes, but their number 1 overall pick was stupid.
Yeah, I can't believe they didn't take Ekwonu. Yeah, I can't believe they didn't take him. They have Josh Allen already. Like, what are you doing? And then they don't even. I don't think they take a tackle until wasn't it the 3rd round when they finally took a tackle? So I don't know. They made some nice things. Like you said, I like them grabbing Devin Lloyd, but Trayvon Walker at number 1 overall, the guy has a ceiling that's through the roof, but his floor is so low. And the production value, I just don't know, man. I think what I thought was cool is 3 players that grew up and played high school and college in their home areas where they're playing professional now was pretty cool. Yeah, hey, we called that F. I was about to drop an F word. I can't say that. We called that pick, that Steelers pick. We were the only ones. Yes. I don't care what you say.
We called 2, Hutchinson and Pickett. Yep. Yes, we did. Every single time. That's not like one that it was just the last one. Those
are every single one.
Had every single time. Period. And the Lions did what we thought they would. They traded out of the 32 pick to get some more capital. So we had a few things that hit. Not many, but I think every single mock draft.
Screw Mel Kiper, dude. He said he called that, dude. He called that like a minute before. That was not on any of his
none
mock drafts.
None of his mock drafts. Yeah, I know. That dude's I can't stand Mel Kiper.
He's been around so long, dude.
He does. He has. I mean, he's been around so long, he can't go to the draft anymore because he's got health issues. That's why he wasn't at the draft. It's because his health wouldn't allow him. So I hope he gets better. I don't wish anything wrong on the man, but I just don't like him as an analyst. He's wrong so much.
Did you watch?
Just once in a while, get something right. He just hammers that, and I can't stand it.
Did you watch the? I just forgot his name. For goodness' sake, I always blank on his Rich Eisen. Did you watch his 40 thing he did with ex NFL players?
Oh yes.
And then Robert Griffin just torched everybody with a 4-5.
Yes, he won a 4-3, dude.
It was like a 4-4, wasn't it?
It was a 4-3, dude.
Oh, He hasn't
ran a
lost his
4.3.
step, dude.
Not a step at all. He ran almost an identical 40 time to his combine.
If only Snyder didn't ruin that man's career.
Oh man, it was actually Don Terry Haloti Nada. Haloti Nada is the one that tackled him and blew out his knee.
No, but made him play on the injury. Yes, Snyder made him play on it.
I get you. Yeah. Snyder's a dude.
Forcing Shanahan to play him.
How many times do you have to be investigated by your bosses and Congress before
in the feds
realize that you're kind of a douche? Like, you really should not own a team. Like,
and when he was coming up with the top 3 names, brought players in, they all said they hated the Commanders the most and went with the Commanders. Dude, Chase Young said he hated the Commanders to Snyder's face, and he still picked it.
Yes, still picked him, and he still plays for him. But I mean, that's Snyder's ego. He's like, oh, he'll love it when he gets here. Like, dude.
Yeah.
Seriously. We need you to disappear. Uh-oh, we lost you, brother.
Yeah, I've been trying to fix it. It's
I got you. I just came back and realized you weren't even on here. I was looking at something else.
This cam is just making me mad.
It's all good, brother. We know how it goes. Maybe if some people hit some like buttons and share our stuff,
it'll turn on.
Right?
Yeah, I could quit my job and join you guys.
Right, there you go.
Hey, with that stuff you're talking to me about that I won't get into, hopefully.
Yes, we will not talk about that yet.
You're going to talk to me more about it, what happened after we got off the phone.
Yes, after we get off here, we will talk about it. We will not be bringing that up here on the show, not yet.
Hopefully.
Anyways, back to what we were talking about.
Teaser.
14 undrafted free agents have been brought in. Have any of them caught your eye?
I haven't gotten a chance to look at their names yet.
All right, so I will start. The number one is yet another pass rusher, Christopher Allen out of Alabama. This guy had the makings of being a first-round pick, but due to character concerns and injury issues, he fell all the way out of the draft, and the Broncos love him so much, they gave him $180,000 in guarantees as a UDFA. That is the highest amount of guarantees any Bronco has ever gotten. This is a UDFA class or list that includes Chris Harris Jr., wow, it just went out of my head. The running back, the bowling ball, CJ Anderson.
CJ Anderson, yeah.
Yes, Rod Smith.
The man that couldn't keep his weight out of limit.
Right. And then Rod Smith, I mean, the list goes on and on for the UDFAs that have came through and been uber successful.
I think there was a thing about the Broncos there. They've signed one undrafted free agent in their entire since the 90s, every year since 1990 since Shanahan came in, was that 94?
All but 1 year.
Yeah.
Their streak was broken. I want to say 3 years ago. But since then they have started a new streak. And they're up to 4 straight years of at least one undrafted
making the final roster.
And
if anything, it's going to be Christopher Allen, I would think.
$180,000 guarantee as a UDFA. That's more money guaranteed than either of the 7th round picks or the 6th round pick that the Broncos made. And
it's either that or it's going to be Sebastian Gutierrez. I just forget how to pronounce his last name. I have seen his name before, but I forgot to pronounce it. The left tackle.
Gutierrez. Sebastian
Gutierrez.
Left tackle out of Minnow.
If there's going to be one.
Minnow State? How do you say that?
Minnow State, I believe.
Minnow State. Okay. I'm like, I have a harder time pronouncing the man's college than his name.
It's going to be Christopher Allen will make the team as like my 80% guarantee, I would say.
Yeah.
And if anything, we'll see 2. It would be him and Gutierrez.
Yeah. Speaking of Gutierrez, how about this? He was recruited to Minnow as a receiver, converted to tight end, and then grew into an offensive tackle. Like, the kid is.
Was that guy playing 6-man football? What was going on?
Like how do you evolve? That's a lot of weight, bro.
I mean,
to a tight end to a tackle.
It's kind of like Warren Sapp, where he was recruited as who was a receiver weight, recruited as a tight end, and then was converted to defensive
tackle. Right, and became a D tackle and
a Hall of Fame. Wait, is he a Hall of Famer? I think he is.
Yes.
Yeah. And a Super Bowl champion.
A year or two ago. Yep.
With the racist who shall not be named.
Right. Yeah, I like this kid. One that a lot of people are talking about. It's the kid out of Buffalo, the linebacker, Gaddafi Wright. He's 6'3", 230, runs a 4.4, and had 3 defensive touchdowns in 5. He's a 5th-year senior, so high quality, high caliber quality of a human and a player. He's got he's stuck around for 5 years to get his degree to make his mama happy. Those are usually the kind of guys that just grind. And he looks like, at the least, a special teams maven with that size and that speed.
Yeah, how about the punt returner we drafted, though?
The what?
The punt returner.
Which one was that?
You talking about in the draft.
The 6th rounder, yeah. Washington, what was his name? He had a first name I can't remember because it's different.
Let's look.
Yes, I got to pull it up.
I wanted to talk to you about him because that was a pick I really liked. What was his? Montreal Washington from Samford.
Yes, Montreal. There you go.
Not Sanford, Samford.
Yes, Samford.
I really like that just because we finally got a replacement for our punt return.
Deontay Spencer is officially gone and never coming back.
I mean, watching this guy's tape, he is fast.
Yes, he is. Let me go ahead and look up his RAS score real quick. Because we all know Paton loves his high RAS scores. Which is honestly why I thought he'd take the tight end out of Virginia Tech. Because that kid's RAS score was
Montreal ran a 4.48 40.
There you go. So mid 4.40. Ooh, his RAS score didn't come out very good. But let me see if they have. Oh yeah, because of his height, he's 5'8", 181. That really drug down his score.
It's just trending holiday.
He had a 36-inch vertical. 36 inches for a dude at 5'8" is pretty dang good.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And he had a broad jump of 10 foot 4 inches. So he's definitely got burst.
That reminds me of just Trendon Holiday with 5'8".
Right, but he might be a bit stiff. His shuttle was 4.32, which is in the 45th percentile, and his 3-cone was 7.25, which was in the 24th percentile. But he has really good straight line speed, that 4.48 40 and a 1.6 10-yard split, and his 20-yard split, because he really seems to get going underway. That 10 to 40-yard split was 9.92, was 2.48, which is in the 99th percentile. So it seems like once he gets going, you're not going to catch him.
Here, I need to go grab something real quick.
Before he gets going, you can go down. What's that?
I'm going to go grab something real quick. Be right back.
All right, go ahead. But I do like Montreal Washington. His RAS score might be a little bit deceiving because, like I said, they're really dragging him down for his size, which as a punt returner and slot receiver is not that big a deal, especially when you have a 36-inch vertical and over 10-foot broad jump. So the kid's plenty explosive. I really don't know if I would put him on offense very often because, like I said, he is quite small. Just like Deontay Spencer when he got absolutely demolished last year when Pat Shurmur tried to have him run end arounds and things of that nature. I wouldn't do that with Washington either.
No, I wouldn't do that.
He's going to be Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler.
He's going to be like a Deontay Spencer, Trendon Holiday. He's just going to be solely punt return. Yep. He's going to be punt and kickoff.
Right. And the big thing that people need to take from this draft is that Paton was looking to fill up special teams. He already knew that 99% of the holes on the rest of the roster were fine. They were filled to his liking. Whether you like it or not is irrelevant. To him and the coaching staff's liking, they were filled.
That's what I love. People think that when they think it's like this is what's going to happen. It's like, no. George Payton's just like, yeah, we're good. We don't need that. Let's just fill up special teams. Like we got free agency to go through. What you talking about? Like
right, exactly. Because like every single pundit across every platform, and even us here are guilty of it to an extent, talked about right tackle being a huge hole. Well, Paton said, screw all of you. I'm not going to take one. He did not take a single right tackle. Like I said, the only tackle he took was the Gutierrez kid we were just talking about, and he's a left tackle. He's only ever played left tackle.
And he could be converted still. Like there's
possibly
time. You got rookie OTA still to go through. And he'll make it past rookie OTAs, I think. You get in the training camp, and then that's where we're going to start to see him move over more when you're starting to get pads and you're playing against the defense. The only time you'll play against the first team defense and all that. And people seem to forget free agency is not over. Free agency is not over. It ends when the 53-man rosters are set for the season.
Exactly. And speaking of free agents, the Broncos still have 12 free agents that are unsigned. Do you see any that you would like back in Dove Valley?
Let's go take a look.
See, right now,
I'll go ahead and stand up because I was getting a little nauseous.
We got Kyle Fuller, Bryce Callahan, Kenny Young, Alexander Johnson, Natrez Patrick, Shamar Stephen, Bobby Massey, Cam Fleming, Brett Jones, Eric Saubert, Deontay Spencer. We all know our reaction there.
That's a big red X.
Yeah, and Adrian Killens, the running back. So
all right, I got two for you. Available. Got two. All right, okay, I'm going to name off my number one. This isn't my number one, but I'm going to name off my other one first. It's Bryce Callahan. Just because, sure, we filled in corner slots already. There's still you would still love to have more depth and a vet like that you can get back cheap, which he will. He will come back cheap if you ask him to. That's what I would like there. And when he's on the field, when he wasn't hurt and he was on the field, he was a factor. He was the factor of the game. But my number one is Kenny Young. You got to bring back Kenny Young. The man was just outstanding. One of the best players on the defense besides Surtain and Simmons. I mean, that's just your number one guy you got to bring back. Adds leadership and just presence on the field and will absolutely be the game changer when you need him to.
And at the very least will lead your special teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the thing I love about Kenny Young is that he will do whatever's necessary. When you go back and look at the tape, the man played everywhere across the defensive front as a linebacker. He played on special teams on both return and receiving units. So the man is more than willing to go in and get dirty with the lowest rung of the teams, and that is special teams. So I would absolutely love to see him. I would love to see him and Gaddafi Wright in training camp. Jesus, I don't know why I couldn't get that out. In training camp and watch what they can do on the special teams. I think their blend of size and speed could be special on those return and receiving units both. I think they could do some really, really great things. So yes, for me, honestly, the only one I could see as even having a place, because the Broncos just did take two more cornerbacks as well as signed one more as a UDFA. So they took three total, two in the draft they selected, and then signed another cornerback in undrafted free agency. So I don't see them really looking. I mean, maybe if they could get Bryce Callahan at a really low rate, like a vet minimum, I could deal with that.
Did you see this?
You would like. No, sorry. What's happening?
DeAndre Hopkins got suspended 6 games?
Yes.
I did not see that.
For PED violation. Yes. So for all of you that don't know, DeAndre Hopkins of the Arizona Cardinals has been suspended 6 games for a PED violation. I don't know exactly what he did or anything, so that's why I haven't really talked about it. I don't want to go too far in depth and then get myself in trouble. But yes, I know for a fact he's been suspended. It's 4 PEDs and it's 6 games. But outside of that, I don't have any more information.
Who do the Cardinals get? They just got another receiver in a trade. Was it Hollywood Brown?
Yes, it was Marquise Brown from Baltimore. That was the big trade. That was one of the big trades on day one. Both Browns, AJ Brown and Marquise Brown, were traded for first-round picks from their team. AJ went to Philadelphia and Marquise went to Arizona.
Hey, dude,
which would have been a perfect compliment if he had DeAndre, because I mean, you got Marquise over here with his speed, and then you got DeAndre over here that's just a freaking manimal. But
and they got them a good one in the draft, dude. They got the tight end from CSU.
I think, I mean, this is probably a very unpopular opinion in Broncos country. I think McBride is overrated. I
do too. But I mean, you got a good tight end to have on that team when you needed one.
Yeah, he's solid. Like, he's solid, but he should not have been the first tight end off the board. I literally would have taken 5 other tight ends before I took McBride.
I would have taken the hair. And we did.
I would have taken Dulcich over him. I'd have taken the kid from Virginia Tech, the kid from Maryland, and then the other kid from where was he from? I can't remember right now, but it's not a big deal. But yeah, there was like 4 other guys I would have taken before McBride, and yet still somehow McBride goes first off the board. He might prove me wrong.
And they might have saw something in him that we didn't.
What?
Yeah, I would say they probably saw something in him that we didn't.
Quite possibly. Or he might just be. I mean, he was probably the more complete tight end in the draft. He was probably the best blocker. But again, this is 2022, y'all. It's not 1922. Tight ends have to be able to stretch the field. They have to be a matchup nightmare. Trey McBride was able to dominate a weak conference against very weak competition. Like, when he went up against the SEC and teams of that nature that had legit defenses, he disappeared. That's why I say he's overrated. Whenever CSU was playing other, I don't even know what are they still in the Mountain West?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So they're still playing Wyoming and everybody.
Yeah, Wyoming, all these guys. So when he played them, yeah, he balled out. But again, look at what he did against top competition. He disappeared. Whenever he played a team in the SEC or even the Pac-12, he would get shut down. Like, there was games he disappeared against Colorado in his career, and they've never been the greatest when it comes to defense.
Oh, I got to see him play that one year at the last showdown at the Mile High.
Oh yeah, the last one at Mile High. I'm sure that was a great game.
That's the one where the bus just killed them.
Yes, just.
And there's some things that I will not be able to talk about that happened there.
Yes, I am sure. There's plenty, but we can
talk about
those afterwards. Oh, I'm sure it was an absolute blast.
My one and only showdown. That was fun.
So while we've been talking about and consternating about possible holes, what is the biggest remaining hole on this roster, if any, that you see?
One that we both agree on, I would believe, is right tackle.
Yeah, I think so.
There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I want to trust the Paton process, we have a competition of undrafted free agents and journeymen at the right tackle position. Calvin Anderson is in his 4th year, has had a total of 305 snaps. Yes, he is not allowed a sack in 305 snaps, but that is a very small sample size.
And it's also why he is an undrafted free agent.
Exactly. And then you have Billy Turner, who is on his 7th team in 9 years, and just last year had a pass rush grade of 66.7, and gave in his 3 years in Green Bay gave up a whopping 77 quarterback pressures and hits. He gave up 4 sacks last year, and he didn't even play the full season. He only started, I think it was like 6 games last year, and still gave up 4 sacks.
And and there are some things, especially with the new, what would you say, the new culture within the organization,
right? With
Russell Wilson being brought in, everybody's believing in George Paton. Everybody, and you can tell everybody already loves Hackett.
Yeah,
He's their guy. Like
even
everybody loves Hackett. Their front office does, players do, and it's gonna be one of those things where now I got a guy like Russell Wilson, right? Sure, he's getting up in age, but he can evade a rush when things go bad.
Oh, he has not lost a step.
But it's also going to be, I don't want this guy to get hit. This is our guy. We can't let him get hit, and that's going to build added, like, what would you say? How would you word that? Fire, like more fire to you to make sure he doesn't get hit.
Yeah,
like what Garrett Bolles said. He called him and said, "I know you're used to getting hit. You're not going to get hit here."
Yeah, because Russell Wilson, if y'all don't know, the man has got hit a league leading 222 times since 2019. Think about that, y'all. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. So that's why I've said, like, why didn't they put more into the right tackle position? Because we just discussed Calvin Anderson and Billy Turner, and then the third option is Tom Compton, who is absolutely abysmal. Like, there's a reason that man has been as much of a journeyman as he has been. He has been nothing more than a swing tackle backup at best. He's never played more than 62% of the snaps, and that was in 2018 with Minnesota, where he was a right guard, not a right tackle. So it worries me that, yes, it seems like the left side of the line's good. You got Bolles and Reisner. They picked up a new center who I really like. He fits the zone blocking scheme. I think Cushenberry will be better in the zone blocking scheme. So it seems like center is set. Then you have right guard that's either Quinn Miners or Graham Glasgow. I say just give it to Miners. Miners amazing.
Was the better right guard last year than
he was a beast. I mean, especially run blocking. Like, Graham Glasgow's probably a better pass blocker, but when it comes to run blocking, that's Quinn Miners' game. Like, he just wants to go out and
him and Javonte both got the staff last season.
Yes.
That was
exactly,
dude. The reason they won it was insane. Quinn Miners ran over 4 guys, and Javonte was able to hurdle over all of them and get through.
Right. And now there's something that I wouldn't be terribly mad at that could happen that really hasn't been discussed at all, and that is putting in Netani Moody at left guard and swinging Dalton Reisner back out to right tackle. Where honestly, I thought he had his best game tape in college. I thought him at right tackle would have been a beautiful bookend to Garrett Bolles. Like, the way that he pass blocks and run blocks so well, I thought he would be a great right tackle. Like, some people want to make a big deal about his short arms. Well, one of the best right tackles in Broncos history, the one that helped ride the team to the 97 and 98 championships.
Stink?
Yes, had short arms. Like, that was his big thing, was like he had short arms. So why not run it back with another guy? Because we're in a zone blocking scheme. This isn't a power blocking scheme where he's manned up on a defensive end. They're moving, he finds his target and uses technique. So the whole long arms thing doesn't really apply.
That is one of the most underappreciated offensive lines in NFL history. Was that 96-97 line?
Just simply because they would not talk to the media.
I mean, the number one will always be the Hogs.
Yes.
I would put 2 as that 95 Cowboys team because, my God, those guys were insane. And really then 3, I would go 3 would be that 96-97 team.
7. Yeah, I agree. That offensive line was insane. And, I mean, they were the most unheralded great offensive line because not a single one of the guys outside of I backtrack. I'm sorry. The left tackle was a first-round pick. But from the left guard to the right tackle, all of them were either 6th rounders or undrafted free agents, like either from the 6th round or on. All of the rest of those guys. So my hat's off to Shanahan and that coaching staff being able to hodgepodge together that offensive line to be that great and have a 2,000-yard back and multiple back-to-back seasons.
Should be in the Hall of Fame.
Rusher. A lot of them should be, especially Zimmerman. Zimmerman's the right tackle.
Zimmerman, not Stink.
The right guard. Yeah. Zimmerman. Or no, Zimmerman was the left tackle, first-round pick. Right tackle. I still can't. It doesn't matter.
We know.
We know what we're talking about. You might not know what we're talking about, but we know what we're talking about.
I know my history.
Right.
I'm good.
All right.
It's one of those things where I could talk to somebody about it and they go, how do you know that? It's one of those stupid things that I just know.
It's just one of the dumb things we know. We can't help it. It just sticks in the brain. So.
Our Schler's won 3 titles. I mean, come on, man. Yeah, have you ever seen that tweet? This tweet where this guy was talking trash. He's like, who are you? Nobody's ever heard of you before. And he's like, what have you accomplished in the league? He posted a picture with all 3 rings on his hand.
Right.
And said, this is who I am. And then the guy blocked him.
Yes. Epic. That's a great tweet. But real quick, let's make a few way too early depth chart predictions. So we know where some of these are going to be. Man. Quarterback, we already know. Russell Wilson. And we're just going to do the starters. We're not going to go.
Oh, man, the Josh Johnson. What are you talking about?
Right, Josh Jones.
Dude, that reminds me of. Have you seen people are already posting mock drafts for next draft? The day
Oh my
after the
God,
draft?
yes. Jesus, people, stop it. Stop it.
I was going to send you one. I was going to send you one. I go, I don't know who any of these guys are.
Right, and half of those guys aren't even going to be eligible for the draft next year. Like,
yeah.
some of these that I've seen are so stupid. It's like they're picking freshmen. Like, why are they even on your draft board?
You got 3 more drafts before you can pick those guys, man. Like,
right, before that guy even becomes a possibility, okay? So let's just stop with the mock drafts the day after the current draft.
Let's give it
mock
until...
draft should not happen until at the earliest January. At the earliest.
You know, I would even give it this. Midway through the college season.
I mean, that's better than most of these people here. You know what I'm saying?
The people starting it now, I will even say the people
who's going to be eligible.
The people who are doing mock drafts right before when college camps are starting during the summer, I can cut a little bit of slack, but still.
Yes, like, dude, this is ridiculous. I'm not even going to give them.
I understand it's your job, but don't you have some other things you could do in between?
Like, dude, there's so much more. Like we said, free agency still going on. We got June 1st cuts coming.
We did mock drafts when the season ended.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, before January is stupid. Like, it's just stupid. I can't stand it. Like,
week 17, that's when, or 18, that's when you can start.
At the earliest.
Yeah, earliest,
yes,
which is January.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think
biggest remaining holes. Biggest remaining hole. Roster moves. Roster depth charts. Depth
chart real quick. All right, so quarterback we know, and then I go dark. Of course I go dark. You stupid thing.
It's just telling you that Josh Johnson's the starter, and you're wrong.
I know, right? Oh my God. Are you serious? Why are you not turning on? I hate
that's the only thing I'm looking forward to the preseason. I want to watch Josh Johnson ball out.
My lights working like they're supposed to. Sitting there, freaking stupidity. Okay, I'm sorry. I've got to go back up and figure.
You just need to get a moving fan. You just need to get a fan and have it moving all the time, so it'll.
I just need a pokey stick. Just get a little long pokey stick, and I just beep beep beep, and y'all know what I'm doing. But anyways, quarterback Russell Wilson, running back Javonte Williams.
The dog.
Do you agree on that?
No, I think it should be Melvin Gordon.
Of course you do.
No. Javonte all day, every day. Yeah, left tackle.
Left tackle will be
Garrett Bolles,
obviously.
Right, left guard will be Dalton.
Yep, I think so. Center, I think it's going to be the new kid.
See, this is where I disagree. I think it'll be Cush still.
You think Cush will stick?
I think Cush will stick in there. Younger guy, right? Still has room to improve. Look, it wasn't bad last year compared to his rookie season.
I will say, if he puts on weight and gets stronger, yes, that's his big thing. It seems like he doesn't want to hit the weight room since he got into Dove Valley. If he hits the weight room and he gets stronger, I will go with Cush. Then we'll go right guard. I say
Miners.
I say Miners beats him out, and I think Glasgow will either be traded or cut because he has no more guaranteed money.
Right tackle though, this is tough.
Yes.
I want to say it's going to be the undrafted kid from Minnesota State.
You're going to take Gutierrez?
I want to take Gutierrez.
Prediction.
It's my bold. That's my hot take. That's going to be my hot take.
That'll be the hot take. I think Anderson. I think Anderson wins it out just because
I'll see that too.
This coaching staff seems to love him. And I think that he is the reason they did not pick a right tackle because they just love him so much. Because again, like I said, he has not allowed a sack yet in his 4 seasons, but caveat, only 305 snaps and a total of 5 starts in 4 years. So maybe they got a Jim. Maybe he's that undrafted free agent right.
Or maybe they didn't bring anybody in because Gutierrez is going to do it, man.
Hey, man, I would not be surprised because, I mean, look at his competition. It's not like he's got the strongest competition to go up against. So he could be that undrafted free agent that not only makes the roster, but actually becomes a starter. So
all right,
there's definitely that possibility.
Are we under receivers now?
Yes. Well, yeah.
We already know we don't need to name receivers. I don't think.
I mean, the starters are going to be Tim Patrick, Cortland Sutton, and then Jerry Jeudy will be number 3, and
KJ will be 4.
If you want to go that far, then tight end obviously got to be Albert O, and then Dolchich is going to back him up.
He'll be part of more of those two tight end schemes.
Tight end sets. Oh yeah, they'll be. And I mean, honestly, to think about it, we got 2 6'6" guys that are going to be the tight ends in those tight end sets. So that's a lot of bulk. That's a lot of bulk on that offense. With that offense, with already a big offensive line, that the smallest guy I think is 315 is the smallest guy on the line. Smallest guy on the line.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's a.
And then you look at high school, smallest guy on the line, 180, biggest 320, and you're like, God, oh my God.
Yep. That's
you're like, that's big, NFL. That's small.
Small, right? Exactly. So now we're on to the defense. We got outside linebackers, Bradley Chubb and Randy Gregory. I think Benito does move up the draft board and backs up Chubb, and Malik Gregory. And then middle linebackers, I believe, will be Josie and Barron. Unless Kenny comes back. And then
I would say Kenny if he comes back, but then those two,
Yeah, those two, unless Kenny comes back. Then we have defensive line are going to be Jones heavy, DJ, Draymond, and oh Jesus, who's
the front one? Joneses? We got the Joneses up front.
Yeah, and Purcell. Sorry, I couldn't.
Purcell,
think. Yeah, Purcell, like Jones, and Jones.
And our corners,
that's a minimum size of 325. Yeah, corners.
We got Pat Surtain.
And I'm gonna say OJ Moody. I think he comes above Darby with the way how strong he came in.
I'll take OJ Moody too.
Yeah, so our outside corners will be Surtain and OJ Moody, and then Darby will take care of the slot.
Yep, I can see that.
Safeties, K Jackson and Jay Sims. Plain and simple.
No way around it.
All right, so that is our way too early depth chart.
What about special team? No, I'm joking.
We are not going that far. All right. And
we despise special teams on this show.
And I want to take these last few minutes to give a little bit of an announcement. I am starting a new show with a new co-host. It is West is Best with my guy Quinn. We are doing our first episode tonight at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 7 Pacific. We are going to be doing this podcast 2 to 3 times a week. We don't have an exact schedule yet, so I haven't posted it up. Once we have an exact schedule each week, we'll be covering all the top headlines from across all the top 3 major sports, NFL, MLB.
Yo, bring me in for some of those funny things, because I'll have some things to say about that.
Yes. The door is open, my guy, as always for you. Any of these podcasts that I have, you want to jump in, you are always welcome, my man.
If you bring some stuff in, if you find some stuff like that USFL guy that got cut because he didn't like chicken salad. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. We won't really be talking MMA.
I know.
We'll be talking mainly football, basketball, and baseball.
It was USFL.
We will be talking Trevor Bauer.
That was USFL.
USFL. I'm sorry.
Yeah, did you see that though? That kid got cut from a USFL team because he didn't like chicken salad.
Check that out.
Oh, it was so funny. You could see the guy when he was getting cut. He's like,
"Really?
What?
Because of chicken salad?"
Oh, dude, there's some things about the Trevor Bauer stuff. There's some things about some Trevor Bauer I would say, but probably
the kid that got cut in the NFL because he parked in the coach's spot.
Oh my God, that was so funny. I did too. That was a Hard Knocks, I think.
It was a Hard Knocks, yes. Like
it was an older Hard Knocks too.
Yeah, it was from several years ago.
It might have been Rex Ryan, the Jets.
Yes, you are right. Yes, it was. He parked in Rex Ryan's spot. And his fat self ain't going to be happy to walk a couple extra paces.
That's going to be the Trevor Bauer stuff. There's some things I would love to say about that, but probably won't be able to say on air because they're funny. Hey, they're funny. Well, some people won't think they're funny. True. Hey, but there's some things that are funny, but there's some people that probably won't like it because they don't have a good sense of humor.
I don't worry about hurting people's feelings. Yeah. As long as it's not cuss words so that, I'm FCC compliant, we're good, my guy.
Oh, dude,
that's all that's about.
There's some good jokes I've seen about that already.
But yeah, I will definitely keep you abreast of what we're talking about. You ever want to jump in, my guy, you are always welcome. But
hey, screw the Warriors.
Thomas. Yeah, if y'all were watching the NFL draft lives that we were doing, he was one of the guests that popped in. He's the little pretty boy from California with the good hair. He's the one that we're going to be
way better hair than us.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think I'm kind of.
I just got the curls going then.
Right? Yeah. I'm kind of proud of this. So my salad and
I finally got it cut. I had to get it cut.
I don't blame you, brother. I actually got to go in and get a bit of a trim.
Because mine was just nodding in the back. So it was
look at us grown men talking about our hair.
Hey, it's special.
Hey, it is.
If it looks this good, I can talk about it.
Right, exactly. When you look this good, you can't help it. So, but
I
no,
got
for
the
real,
bowl cut middle part special.
yeah. Check us out. Check me and Quinn out, and possibly Dylan every once in a while whenever he decides he wants to pop in.
And if
And
I'm
who
not
knows
dying
what
at
other
work.
guests, right? If he's not dying at work or whatever. So yeah, that will be a late night one, prime time for y'all. Got you a nice little show then that we'll be talking all the top headlines. And again, not just Broncos, not just West Coast, but it is two West Coast kids talking about the nation of sports. So please come check us out. I know we're going to have a blast. And as always, for the Breakin' Broncos podcast, the answer is 42 Media Network. My guy, Dylan, I swear to God, I'm going to get this pointing down. My guy, Dylan Miles, as always, here with me. And as always, you don't get to question the blue.
Unless you want to.